One of the things we frequently do here is help our clients decide what Table A items to check on their request for an ALTA survey or a land title survey. That's because most people don't understand Table A, so that's why we do a lot of videos about Table A items. So I wanted to help potential clients, not just of our firm, but around the United States that are in the market for an ALTA survey. I want to help them figure out a little bit more about what to check on Table A and what not to check. So in this video, I am going to teach you about 3 Table A items that frequently get checked that probably shouldn't be. So you don't need them most of the time. And then 2 Table A items that are often not checked that you should be checking, right? So you're paying for things you don't need and you're not paying for things that you probably do need on your typical land title survey, typical ALTA survey. Okay, so just as a reminder, what is an ALTA survey? It's a special kind of survey that you get. Usually the bank is asking for that. And it's to remove some exceptions in the land title insurance coverage. What is Table A? Table A is 20 optional items that you can include or not include in the survey. Okay, so why do you need to check the correct Table A items to begin with? Why is that important? It's going to have an impact on the cost of the survey. The more items you check, the more expensive the survey gets. And if you don't check the right items, you're not going to properly cover your risks as the buyer or the bank. Okay, so let's talk about the 3 Table A items that I frequently see checked that after a conversation with the client, we find out don't need to be checked. Okay, so here you go. You ready? Number 1, Table item number 5, vertical relief. Okay, that means contours, usually in spot elevations. You don't need to check that, almost never, especially on an urban site. That's typically somebody's checking that because they don't know any better. Okay, so the only reason I can think to check that item is if you're worried about some drainage issues, you know, runoff from a neighboring parcel onto the subject parcel or from the subject parcel to a neighboring parcel. Otherwise, you know, if you don't have an engineer looking at that, I can't think of a good reason why you would want to check Table A item 5. If there are other reasons, please, and you're a surveyor watching this, please put it in the comments for the YouTube video. I'd appreciate that. This belongs on a design survey, right? Vertical relief, contours, and spot elevations belongs on a design survey. It doesn't really belong on an ALTA survey in most cases. And it's expensive. I got to go through quite a bit of extra work to do a good survey that shows vertical relief. So it's a lot of extra surveying work. You probably don't need to pay for it. Don't check this item, you know, or at least have a conversation with the surveyor before you check it. All right, number 2, second item you don't need to check is Table A item number 10, party walls. What's a party wall? That's a wall where you have parties. No, it's not. A party wall is a wall usually between 2 condos, 2 condominiums, or maybe a shared wall between 2 buildings. You don't need to check this unless I'm doing a survey of a condo or buildings that share a wall, and that's almost never. It might happen on a rare occasion, but people check this all the time, and it's silly. They check it, and I'm like, "Where's the party wall? And they go, "What do you mean party wall?" And if you don't know the answer to that question, you probably shouldn't be checking this box. All right, so don't check box 10 unless we're doing a condo or building with a shared wall. By the way, if you check that box, that means I have to get inside the building, right? So, you know, there's extra work there, probably extra fee. Okay, the third Table A item that you don't need to check is item number 12. That is government agency survey-related requirements. If you don't know what this is, that means you don't need it, right? If you are getting a survey that has government requirements, you're probably going to know that. So don't check it unless you know you need it. It's like HUD requirements or other federal government agencies. And the other thing I'll tell you is, you know, most of the time when you look at those government requirements, they just repeat what's already in the spec, which is stupid. It's in the spec already, and so you probably don't need to. You don't need to check box number 12 unless you're getting some kind of government funding usually. Okay, so those are the 3 items you don't need to check. What are the 2 items you do need to check that are frequently left unchecked on the Table A? First one, Table A, item 1. There's a reason why it's item number 1, folks. It's the most important. That is placement of monuments. Why do you want to check this item? It prevents encroachments. It reduces the risk of future boundary disputes. And it scares away con artist land surveyors. Con artist land surveyors don't like to set monuments because that's going to put them on the hook for the quality of the work that they do. So that is the best way to make sure you get a good survey. Check Table A item 1. That's one of the best ways. Okay, so that's frequently not checked because I think most clients don't understand how important monumentation is, but it's really important. Check that box, Table A item number 1. The second Table A item that is almost never checked, that probably should be, is Table A item 18. That requires the surveyor to map plottable off-site easements that benefit the subject parcel. Those attached off-site easements are the most likely to cause land title problems. So almost, I don't know, a huge proportion of the expert witness work I do is related to off-site pertinent easements, we call them. So that's what's going to cause problems. More than likely, you should check that box. People don't think about them because they're outside the limits of the subject parcel, right? So they're not going to be included if you don't check this box because they're outside the subject parcel. And they often have a huge impact on the value or ability to use the parcel. So, for example, if you get a landlocked parcel and there's problems with the access easement or there is no access easement. So, yeah, you want to check this box most of the time. Now, I've got another video that talks about if you check that box, it's going to cost some money. There's some extra work the title company has to do. There's some extra work that I have to do as a land surveyor. But this box should probably get checked on most commercial real estate transactions and is frequently left unchecked. So in conclusion, Table A can be confusing. There's things on there that frequently get checked that shouldn't be, which means you're wasting money. And there's a couple things on there that frequently aren't checked that should be, which means you're not covering your risks properly as the buyer or the bank. So do your research, understand Table A if you're going to be ordering land title surveys, and get help from a good boundary surveyor. If you call me up, I can answer questions about Table A. I won't charge you for that. I'm happy to help. We want to make sure that people get good surveys. So understand Table A, know what boxes you're checking.